Welcome back. Today we are doing a deep dive into a really interesting piece of pro audio gear.
Very specific one, for sure.
Yeah, the DBX640MV 6x4 digital zone processor from Harman. And this isn't, just a mixer.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Think of it as the central brain for sound in a restaurant, a big retail space, that kind of thing.
Okay, so our mission here is to figure out what makes this thing special, what lifts it above a basic component to a pro system manager that installers really rely on.
Right, and the secret, is really in its pre-configured architecture.
What do you mean by that pre-configured?
Well, it's all laid out logically. You have your input processing, then a central matrix that routes everything, and then your output processing.
Wait, hold on. Pre-configured, doesn't that sound a bit restrictive? Like, wouldn't an installer want a totally open canvas?
You'd think so, but that's actually the whole point here. An
Yeah.
open DSP, sure, it's flexible, but the programming time is huge.
And the risk of bugs, I imagine.
Exactly. This is built for speed and stability. Plus, you still get customization where it counts, with these things called configurable inserts. 2 on the input side, 1 on the output.
So you can still drop in specific tools like an EQ or a feedback suppressor on a specific channel.
Precisely. You get the best of both worlds.
Okay, let's get into the signature feature here, the auto warmthy. It's described as a psychoacoustic function. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, that's fascinating. It solves a real-world problem. Sometimes a venue has to keep the background music level really, really low.
Sure, for legal reasons or just for atmosphere.
Right. And when you drop the volume, music starts to sound thin. We lose the highs and lows. Auto warmthy basically compensates for that. It maintains the full frequency bandwidth so the music always sounds rich and full.
It protects the vibe, even at a whisper.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so that handles one location. But what if you have a huge facility, 4 outputs might not be enough? How does it scale?
That's where the link bus comes into play. It's a clever system that lets you duplicate the first 6 audio channels and send them straight to another zone PRO device.
So you can just stack them to get more output zones.
Exactly. You can grow the system without having to reprogram everything from scratch.
So how do you actually control this thing? You've got all this power under the hood. It seems like it could get complicated.
Well, they've got it covered on, 3 different levels.
Okay.
First, you've got the front panel for the installer. All the metering, the LCD screen, everything you need for the initial setup.
Right, for a deck.
Exactly. But then for the day-to-day staff, you have optional ZC controllers.
And what are those?
Think of them as just super simple wall plates. A knob for volume, maybe a button to change the source. They're bulletproof.
So the installer sets up the complex digital brain, but the bartender just sees a simple analog knob.
Precisely. And then for the third level, you have full system control over a network. RS-232 or Ethernet managed with their Zone PRO Designer software.
So it can tie into a bigger automation system.
Yep. It even have a configuration wizard in the software to make that whole setup process faster.
Let's touch on the specs for a second. In these kinds of commercial jobs, you can't have hiss or delay.
Oh, absolutely not. That's non-negotiable. It uses the DBX Type 5e conversion system, which is legendary for handling really hot input signals without distorting.
Which happens all the time in the real world.
All the time. And the dynamic range is over 113 dB. That means it's dead silent. No hiss. And the delay, the propagation delay, is just 0.6 milliseconds.
So basically instant, you'd never perceive it.
Never.
So at the end of the day, what we're looking at is a really powerful, high-fidelity tool that's built for a very specific job.
Absolutely. It gives you the digital power you need, but wraps it in a way that's stable, reliable, and quick to install.
It insulates the user from all that complexity.
And that kind of leaves you with a really interesting question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
As a system designer, you have this incredibly deep control over Ethernet. You can tweak microphone gain down to the decibel, but the end user gets this incredibly simple analog-feeling knob on the wall. So the big question is, where's the perfect balance? How much control is too much for the user, and how much simplicity compromises the power of the system? Finding that gap is, I think, what separates a good installation from a truly great one.